Okay, welcome very much to this quarterly presentation of SignUp Software. It's the first one we do this way, since we are a quite young company at the Stockholm or at the Nasdaq First North. So we will run you through then what we've done the last quarter. So if you could please put up the presentation as well. Have the presentation of the two of us, and then we'll take the next slide, please. All right, so here's just a little bit for those of you who are not familiar with the company. It's a one slider. We've been around for 20 years, a little bit more, founded back in 1999, and we launched our only product basically that is Xflow, that is for AP automation. So we handle the invoices from they come into the company until they are approved in the ERP system. We do this in Microsoft's ERP systems that are called DC365, and we do it globally. We are running in 60 countries today, and we have about 1,200 customers. And as you see to the right here, we did an IPO in November 24th last year. And actually tomorrow, in these premises up here in Mall of Scandinavia, we have a lot of our partners coming here. So it's about 60 of our partners are coming and getting training and about the bells and whistles of Xflow. So we're happy to host them here on the Xflow Inspire that will then happen tomorrow. You also see a couple of milestones there. Basically, we started selling. When we started selling the product, we actually didn't sell it. We just rented it out, and that we have done since back in beginning of 2000s. But the ARR reached in 2019. We reached 100 million, and now early 2022 we reached 200 million. All right, next slide, please. So in summary, then we have now an ARR of 208 million. So ARR is annual recurring revenue, and that's always a snapshot on a specific day. So on the last of March, we had then 208. The sales that we invoiced for Q1 was 56 million, and we got an EBITDA of 5 million. So that's a bit less than we had before, and the reason for that is that we have invested heavily in expanding our company to continue to support the future growth then. So year over year, we've grown ARR 38%, and about 70% of our share of ARR is outside Sweden. And North America and ANZ, that is Australia, New Zealand, is our fastest growing markets. So here's the summary then in numbers for Q1. So our ARR grew by 8.3% to 15 million SEK. And over the last 12 months, we grew by 38% up then. And as I mentioned, we ended up at 208 in ARR at the end of the first quarter. Net sales were 55 million, and that's up 33%. So that is lagging a little bit behind because we always invoice the customers yearly in advance. So we only recognize if we sell something in the 1st of March, we only recognize 1 month then in Q1, and the other 11 months are pushed forward. Yes, please take the next one. So here you also see a bridge from the ARR we had in the beginning of this year. That was 192 million. Our customers also process more and more invoices, and that's our main metric when we invoice them. We invoice them for up to a number of specific invoices that they can process, and that's the upsell. There's of course some people downgrading as well, and some clients leaving us. The main reason is usually then that they get acquired and they change ERP, and that's the churn you see here. Then the Swedish crown has gotten a bit weaker towards our main currencies, and that's the FX that is then helping us a little bit in the ARR. But the main part is the 13 million in upsale with new logos that we've had. So we currently have then about 1,200 plus active customers. Every month we get approximately 3 new logos, or 30 new logos, sorry. And about 15 customers call us and say, hey, now we're up to the limit of invoices that we have an agreement with, and then they upgrade. And that's typical for larger F&O customers. That's the big brother of Microsoft's ERP system. They roll it out in a number of countries. Some new customers that we got this quarter is Kongsberg, for example, in Norway. We got Hexatronic. We gave KVW Brunn down in Denmark, car resales. And one that I'm actually extra proud of is CPA. That's the certified accountants down in Australia that for their own association, they've actually chosen Xflow to run their internal market. So there we have a lot of financially knowledgeable people that have actually selected. Another fun one, so if you go to Iceland and you swim in the Blue Lagoon, they are of course running Xflow now as well then. We also got the second biggest hospital down in Australia. In the US, we got mattress firm. For those of you that go and buy mattresses here in Sweden, you usually buy it at Jysk or IKEA or something like that. Mattress firm is the biggest player in all the malls all around the US as well. So that's also a very nice win we had. American Trailer World is another one, the building and renting in trailers in the US, quite big corporation as well that joins us for this quarter. Yes, please take next one. So here's just a summary of the ARR from Q1 2021, so the last 5 quarters. And you see it's a pretty steady pace here, and it's basically the partners that helps us. So 70% of our sales comes through our partners. So with a limited sales force, we can actually continue to generate these kind of sales. And you see there in the pie charts to the lower right that Sweden, which is the black piece of pie there, is shrinking all the time. This is of course where we originated 20 years ago, and the first customers were only in Sweden. Now for a year ago it was about 36% that came from Sweden. Now we're down to 31, and that's of course because the bigger markets are now also catching on to the AP automation. So if we look at our OpEx development, you see we increased here quarter over quarter about 8%, so about 4 million Swedish crown. So the main part of that is new personnel. We have 15 new co-workers that has joined us during the quarter. Another cost post that's gone up compared to what we've had historically is that we got too many people for our own premises, so we moved from Hallonbergen to Mall of Scandinavia, and our contract here is we have a lot more square meters, and it's a little bit more costly, so that added about 1 million in cost for the quarter, and that's of course something that we will carry forward as well. So if you look at the EBITDA there to the right, it went down from the last quarter, 6.1 million, down to 4.75, representing 8.5%. So, but what you can say there as well is that now we have done quite a lot of recruitments, and for the rest of the year we will not be as aggressive on the recruitment side. So that's those parts. Yes, let's go on the next one. On the growth pattern, you see that we have our base in Northern Europe, and last year we opened up in Benelux. That has taken us about 1 year to get that company profitable, so it's a pretty good return, we think, of the investments we've done. In the US, we've gone a bit broader, so there we're actually up to 9 people now, 6 at the end of the last quarter. And then we also see a great opportunity to move up in Singapore area or the ASEAN area. So that's also something that we are working on currently to make that happen then. So totally we are today 103 people, and as you see, have been quite rapid growth there, and now we will be digesting a little bit this recruitment. Yes. So this slide is actually from when we did the IPO back in November last year, and we said then that our midterm financial targets, 3 to 5 years, are the following then with a 25% ARR growth, which we are overachieving on. The EBITDA margin is around 20 is what we're aiming for, but you also see in the bullets there in the middle that we knew already then, of course, that our budget for this year was to drive a couple of new countries and a quite aggressive recruitment, and that was going to have a short-term hit on our EBITDA. So that is according to our plan. And then we also did not do any dividend this year, because we of course asked the stock market for money for selected acquisitions. So that's of course a avenue that we are also looking at, but we did not then do the dividend this year, but going forward that will also come. All right, so the latest information around us you can also always find at ir@signupsoftware.com. You're free to send questions there. And if you want to do that offline, if you want to ask questions now, I open up the Q&A session, and you have Q&A buttons in your live event then if you have any specific questions. Do you see any questions coming in?
No questions yet.
No questions yet. All right. But then I suggest if you have a question, feel free to reach out to me or just drop an email to the mail that you see above. So by that, I close this session, and thank you very much for listening.